All right, guys, my only problem, I think, about setting up the orangutan exhibit over here is they have the noisiest neighbors. Listen, they've got to sit here and listen to these guys screech all day. Look, they all start booking it when he comes over to feed them. But yeah, our poor little orangutans, they have to sit here and listen to that all day. But anyways, so remember, we bounced back and forth about this idea a little bit of making the first part an animal exhibit. So that's what we did. Remember, we were talking about going to maybe do lemurs over here, or I was even thinking red pandas. But I thought maybe in the future it'd be better if, because I want to do like Zoo Knoxville and do like a red panda village, So the orangutan, I think this just works out perfect. They're the perfect little kind of like more docile, species here, and they don't mind the boats. They can go back and forth across the islands. They just, like I said, I think they're just a really, really good fit for this side, and to kind of like start you out, introduce you essentially to the to the riverboat ride. So you pretty much you leave the station and then you're in their habitat, like you're here. And then you kind of eventually you make your way through the gates here, and then you're get into a little more of an exotic type area with the gharials and a little female right here. The big male, he's still cool, has not tried to escape yet. I think I've got his space issues worked out pretty well. This one, she keeps getting like the little, they had a little baby here. She keeps getting a little close to the gates, a little close for comfort. So I hope she doesn't try to like sneak her way out over there. But other than that, I think they're enjoying the habitat. And then too, the riverboat, if you're new, it kind of winds its way through the little jungle area here. And remember, the boats will actually stop, so our big guy here is kind of blocking them. So that would kind of make for a long trip if he doesn't move. But they wind their way around, and you finally come to I got their little mud bath here. You finally weave out into the last little lagoon area here and make your way past the statues, kind of into the tunnel. And then you make your way through the tunnel and then over into our little fishing village here. So, I figured like the story could be if you made your way through the jungle, it's like a high honor here for these villagers. If you've made your way through, you've conquered the river and the jungle, and you've kind of essentially made it back to the village. And if we had little animatronics and stuff, it would be cool if I could have just a few more things going on. I know we've got that. We've got like that mill piece. I might find a place for it out here, but this is like coaster designer and all them. They were talking about the fishing village out here needing to be a little more busy and not, like breaking up some of the uniformity. And I think I did that by like tilting some of the houses on an angle. We've got their ropes and their beads, ceremonial rugs and stuff like that. Kind of strung across, and then I thought it was cool to put a little bend in the dock or in the docks instead of having them just all be absolutely straight. So yes, this is the village, and then you make your way around that last little turn. And I actually used one of the exhibits, and that this is going to be like I've still got work to do, but this is going to be the station that kind of starts you and ends your journey. But as far as, like we mentioned at the beginning, the orangutans go, I think it just worked out perfect here. And so that is kind of what's going on. This is just the first video of the day. I didn't really do any time lapse. As a matter of fact, I had like all of this exhibit done, and that was like at 7:30 this morning. I had it all finished, and we had a power surge. Everything in the house turned off. I think it's just probably because all these creeps, everybody, here is turning on their heaters and all their electronics. And, being a Saturday morning, I think probably the whole neighborhood just had a quick surge. And the earliest autosave I had was 710. So luckily the village part, I had actually did it first, so I didn't have to redo all this. I just had to come in and redo the entire orangutan exhibit. So that kind of sucked. You know how it is if you've ever had those power surges and your autosave didn't quite go back far enough. Yeah, I had to do that part over again. So I was like, you know what, just forget the time lapse. There's not that really much going on with this anyway. And so I just kind of thought I'd get in here and show you guys what I've done this morning. And then, of course, I think it will give the new people a tour of the zoo, anybody that's new. So we'll go ahead and start that. And then I should have another video out later on this evening. And we might even get ready to move. I don't know if we want to do like a tiger exhibit or if we want to move into the American section. I know a lot of you guys are wanting to see how the American section will turn out, and these guys are still stuck over here with him. Sorry, he comes first. But so anyways, new people, this is where the park starts at. So you make your way down this main corridor here, and you come to this like roundabout plaza where you have to decide if you want to go off to I'll go off to your left or the right. And if you're coming in from the entrance building here, let's see if I can navigate this okay. If you're coming in, you basically come to a head right here at the Crocodile Lagoon. So that is what we have going on right here. Then you can go off to the left, like I said, and we've got some exhibits here, like some little regular exhibits. We've got some restrooms. We've got our first restaurant over here off to your left, bistro, and this is our Galapagos tortoise exhibit over here. So you can kind of, I've got like a little offshoot over here, so you can kind of walk out to the end of that and watch the old big fellas live out their little lives. And then if you don't go up to the restaurant or the tortoises, this is like our big plaza area. So I've got a little live entertainment stage here. All of this stuff can be moved out for, like I mentioned in older videos, for events, weddings, press announcements, stuff like that. That is kind of what this huge plaza's for. Got a little bit of seating over here. And then, of course, moving back a little farther beyond the plaza, we've got the hippopotamus enclosure. So this is kind of like just a little information house. You can go through, watch videos. I figured they would have like some real scale models in there that you could walk up to, for size comparison. And then you have the Hippo Lagoon, and these guys are not necessarily 100% happy with their space, but they've gotten a little better. We've got the little rock grotto right there that you can actually you can go in there and stand and watch them swim and play and poop all over the place. But they basically my buddy Hunter Sia an episode or two ago said maybe we need to expand their territory a little bit to kind of help with the space. So that's what we did. You've got this overpass right here, and it might look like two separate enclosures, but if you go underwater, see, they've got a little tunnel they can swim through and come out to this side of the island. And they've got shelter and, different things up here they can play around with and swim around with. So this little corner up here, this encompasses the whole hippo area, which I thought came out really cool and looks so much better with the kind of like with the little bridge out here, if you will, kind of like almost like the natural bridge. Thought that was really, really fun. Over here on the other side, if you go past the hippos, we've got the gorilla enclosure, and they really, really love this. They've come over, it seems like they've come over here and messed with this more. This is my favorite tree in the whole game. I actually plopped this in accidentally, like right here in the middle of this stuff when I was just moving some trees around, and I'm like, wait a minute, let me slide that over a little bit. And this just brings so much more character to their little area than it had before, when like this tree wasn't here. It was just the rocks and their climbing stuff. So now they've got that giant wumba tree, and I think it really, really ties in the area just killer now than it did when it was just a blank set of rocks, and the climbing structures look so much more natural now, I believe. So I think I'm going to keep that. And this is kind of like the gorilla valley, if you will. See, I've kind of made them a little valley, and they got plenty of space, plenty of stuff to hide, but I've also put a lot of their food and their enrichment items, their foraging bed, all that's kind of placed out here. The little baby's about to fall. They're all out here, so they can they're kind of coaxed to eat and play over here, at least where the guests could see them. So that is that. This path kind of just leads you out to the second viewing area of the Indian rhinoceros. And also this will eventually, will get us a little an entrance way and an exit way over here for the riverboat ride. But right now, if you came back this way, if you weren't interested in the hippos or the gorillas, you can peel back over here and check out the Indian rhinos. So this is another one of those natural exhibits. I didn't want to have like big giant fences or glass up for the most part. So you can view them from right there on that little pathway. And then of course behind you, you can see you've got a glassed in view of of our saltwater crocs. So that's like a little 2-for-1 area. They're a 1-for-2 area there. And so this is one of the earliest exhibits. The crocs were first, followed by the Indian rhinoceros. So that's our first 2 exhibits. Now another way, if you go off to what would be your right after you leave the little plaza area, this is our Bonobo exhibit over here. So you would I've got a bunch of little naturalized areas over here. Another wumba tree. This is another thing that coaster designer was talking about, how the island just looked kind of dead. It just didn't look like enough. Escape. They did. They finally made it past. I knew that little baby was going to get over there and do that. Well, I think maybe we can put up with it. But she was getting a little too inquisitive over there. Mama didn't bring her back. That one, too, has kind of been eyeing this gate. But anyways, back to where we were, the bonobos. This, I think, another thing that is so versatile about the wumba tree is look how much character it gives the Bonobo Island now. And when I delete it, see how everything just... it just kind of looks it really looks unfinished without that tree there. It looks okay, but it just does not look, it doesn't convey that natural type flow I think that we're going for. And see, look at the shade it provides them. You see that little bit of stutter that happens right there. That's because, like we said, it calculates those climbing structures in real time, and technically they can climb this now. So that all has to be considered with the program, the real-time programming and all that. So that is that part. And also, too, if you see these little, I've said this before, but this is for the new people, this is like our little season pass walkways here. So, season pass members have a little bit of a special area for most of the exhibits that they can walk out on and actually experience the animals. Like with the rhinoceros exhibit, this is that. The hippos have it. This would be the season pass, pay extra type deal to get up in that. So that is another big thing. I kind of wanted to see if, try to give season pass holders a more bang for their buck. Moving on, this is another little large plaza here. We've got our sculpture and our fountains, and this is a little photo spot, little Jeep area right here. And then I've got more seating, more like just large plaza area. I was telling a couple people, that I was thinking also too that these could be moved for events and stuff as well. This is our little nighttime house. This is our nocturnal house. I kind of made it to look like it was kind of like it was all caved in. You can put, you know, any type of nocturnal creatures type in there. It is flanked by its pond over here. Thought that was really, really cool. They've got like a little walk behind section over there for staff and all that. But so yeah, really, really pleased with how this whole area came out. It's one of my favorite spots in the whole zoo. Just the way the path ended up working and the pond and the facade. Just thought that was killer. And moving on, I've got us some. Uh-oh, somebody else got it. Yep. This might end up causing me some problems. The little babies aren't with the game yet. But this is one of the next exhibits we started. We've got a greater flamingo exhibit. And these guys, let me tell you, you do not need to start off with like 8 of them. Believe me, they will breed and they will take care of your numbers problem for you. They breed basically like rabbits. But they're a lot of fun to have over here, and just I think their pond turned out really, really cool. And so yeah, that's that. And then like we said at the beginning, we've got our orangutan, and then we have, of course, our little bit of trouble right now. I hope the big guy doesn't get into the orangutan exhibit. This is our Gharial exhibit, and they are actually a part of the riverboat ride. So that is kind of what you have going on there. They've got their little island out here, mud bath. I thought this was pretty cool to have a little help sign out here like this guy is stranded. And but you know, another thing, guys, I was thinking would be cool for this area. I don't know if any of you all have mentioned it, but what if, to separate not only the mountain here with the North American area, if I do another little mountain and I could make this a staff corridor? So all of the staff areas right here, or we could box them in, could be totally hidden. And this would be more of the staff areas that will encompass and service our larger North American area, essentially. So I thought, because we got to be thinking about that too, because all of my staff areas now are kind of over here. Oh, I didn't show you this. This is like our little backstage prep areas, warehouse areas, ranger stations. We'll be adding to this as well. But this is just like the first 2 warehouse areas, 8A and 8B. But I think logistically, it would be really cool to have this as a larger staff corridor. I'm talking like veterinary centers, quarantine centers, staff rooms, all of that. Oh my God, he did get over here. Look at him looking. What the Jesus? We're gonna have to watch out for that. She was just sitting here watching him like he's not supposed to be in here. That is hilarious. But anyways, guys, yeah, I'm going to get to work, I think, on the North American area. That is kind of where my head is at today. Obviously, not protecting my orangutans and gharials from getting out of their enclosures. But I think I am going to do some North American mischief today before we move on to maybe like a tiger exhibit maybe tomorrow, or just continue with the North American stuff. That's why, you know, it's cool that you guys like you guys don't really hold me to like a hardcore schedule like, oh my God, you need to finish this before you're moving on. That's just not really my style. You guys know I'm all over the place, so whatever just pops into my head that I decide to start working on, that's kind of just what happens. So you might have to get used to that on this channel. I'm not really structured too well in that respect. But anyways, yeah, like always, let me know what you think down below about how everything's moving and rolling and how this zoo is shaping up and what you think about this zoo personally. And yeah, I guess that's it then. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.